Hello everyone and welcome to another high-elo game of Age of Empires. Today, discounted military units take on discounted military technologies as Hera, playing as the Incas in blue, gets ready to duke it out with Heart, playing as the Chinese in red. Now all the players heard their herdables explore their immediate surroundings, which are much more readily seen for the Chinese, given the extra line of sight, that bonkers extra line of sight on their town centers, and probably try to get their butts up to Feudal Age ASAP. Not a bad time for us to take a look at the two civilizations that we will be watching today. The Incas, the quintessential counter civilization. Will your opponent go cavalry? Well, the Incas can rely on their first unique unit, the Kamayuk. This is a ranged infantry unit that carries a very long shafty spear and comes with a massive attack bonus against all mounted units. Now to counter infantry, the Incas can rely on their other unique unit, the Slinger. This is an archer unit that comes with a pretty darn big attack bonus, plus 10 against infantry, and which can be upgraded to get even more attack. Now to counter archers, the Incas can rely on their skirmishers, which not only come with all archery range, blacksmith, and university upgrades, but can also be upgraded to have absolutely no minimum range whatsoever, which does remove one of the biggest weaknesses of skirmishers. Now to make their army last a little bit longer on the battlefield, no, the Incas do not distribute Pervitin or Viagra to their soldiers. What they do give them is a little bit of extra armor. Their Kamayuks, their Slingers, their Eagle Warriors can all be upgraded to get +1 melee and +2 pierce armor. Now to help build and support their military industrial complex, their military units cost less and less food as the game goes on. Currently in the Dark Age, all military units cost 10% less food, which makes your maybe a couple of militiamen push a little bit cheaper, all the way up to 25% cheaper in Imperial. They do start the game, those of you who may have noticed, with a free llama underneath the town center, which doesn't really sound like much, but it does give you an extra unit to explore the map with. And once the exploration is done, a nice juicy 100 food barbecue. Now their buildings also cost less stone. Their houses support 10 population space instead of the usual 5, which is why you'll see Hera with 1 TC and 2 town centers, 2 houses, has a top population room of 25 compared to the usual 15. And their villagers are harder to raid because starting in the Castle Age, they do benefit from all infantry blacksmith upgrades, both attack and defense / armor. And by the way, they get all infantry blacksmith upgrades, which makes their villagers a little bit tougher to beat down. Now, who might want to beat down those blue Incan villagers? We've got Heart playing as the Chinese in red at the southwest portion of the map, a well-rounded civilization, which we'll see how they divide this civilization up in the upcoming patch, but whose economic bonuses and strong tech tree mean a player has a lot of options on how to crush his or her enemies. To start with, all Chinese technologies get progressively cheaper starting in the Feudal Age, 5, 10, 15% cheaper in Imperial. Their farms all seed with 10% more food. Their town centers support 15 population space instead of the usual, instead of the usual 5. I was trying to count how many houses. So 15 plus 5, because we're not an Incan house, equals 20. So this could have been easily, the introduction could have been the battle of the wonky housing communities here, as 1 TC and 1 house or 1 civ has, you know what I mean. This is not normal. These are not normal. You know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to say. They also, by the way, the Chinese hit the ground running every single game with 3 extra villagers, although this does come at the cost of 200 food and 50 less wood, which always makes me very interested to see the idle time on a Chinese TC at these high level pro games, because you really don't start with any food, which means you can't start training villagers, which means you really have to rush to force drop food more and more until you can train. For now, Heart with 19 seconds, which is not terrible at all. As long as you can keep it, in my opinion, under 25, which is the amount of time it takes to train a villager in this game, I think you're doing pretty darn well. Now, speaking of doing well, to help defend your economy and your settlement against raids, Chinese walls and towers can be upgraded to get 30% more HP, and the extra line of sight on their town centers, which I showed you, +7 line of sight compared to other TCs, meaning that you can see an enemy coming from a mile away. Now, on the field of battle, the Chinese can field all top-of-the-line infantry units, although without the supplies upgrade, be prepared to pay a little bit extra for your champions. Their foot archers, their skirmishers are also pretty darn strong, especially if you mix in their unique unit, the Chukanu. This is a foot archer that fires multiple arrows, can be upgraded to get even more attack. And while their cavalry is pretty good, the Chinese siege can be problematic since their scorpions can be upgraded to get a +4 attack boost. Will he try to steal and lame the llama? Look at that. Just well, what's the Air Force term? Strafing, I think. Right when you fly right next to an enemy battleship or an enemy ship or an enemy plane of any kind, and you kind of just buzz them with a few bullets, or I think it's called strafing. In any event, Hera strafing that llama, not really converting it, taking it, doing whatever. And the scouts have discovered where each other's bases are, and let's, as they both circle this one, it's like a nucleus with a couple of protons around it, or electrons, or whatever. I did not do too well in science class in high school. It will come to no surprise to anybody that I was more into history than I was into science or anything like that. But as these protons, neutrons, whatever the hell, circle this nucleus of a jaguar, let's remove the line of sight that we have blocked and see exactly what's going on the map, because the bases seem pretty close with a bit of a diagonal attack path, which is nice to see. Usually lately we've seen left to right, up to down, but now we see bottom left to upper right. Okay, well, down goes the jaguar. I guess the first kill of the game going to Heart, technically, if you want to be real technical about it. But the attack path pretty darn open. Relic in the center, which may or may not get nerfed or boosted or whatever the hell in the next patch. Let's take a look at Hera's base. Where is his primary? Oh, primary gold and primary stone and secondary gold, all three. We saw this last game a few days ago when he was playing against Heart. Not in the garrison, I mean on this channel. He had 3 of his gold patches all in a Bermuda's triangle of laming, and we'll see whether or not Heart decides to make an issue of this. But 3 out of the 5 starting resources in this position is yuckity gross. Extra gold also not really too close, and he's already walling it out. And where is your additional stone? Oh my goodness, Hera has no resources to the rear. Oh goodness, this is all front loaded. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess you could count this kind of sideways. Not really front, not really back. This is kind of an ambiguously placed patch of 4 gold. The rest is all wood to the back, which is not terrible, but he's already beginning to wall off, so I'm not sure Hera's too concerned about any of this. Looks like the first kill of the game also goes to Hera as he guns down a spearman with, I'm assuming, the skirmishers. Yeah, they do come with a nice little nifty attack bonus against those units, so always a good bet if you were ever a gambling person that it is usually the skirmishers who take out these spearmen. Well, we got ourselves a little bit of battle here. Heart takes the high ground fantastically, but Hera's trying to close in on him to remove it. Also loses a unit. Kill count even up 1 apiece. And let's see once this battle shapes up what we are going to be left with. And then we can take a look at Heart's base to see where Hera can press, because it looks like Hera is interested in aggressing right now. He's not really gathering any resources. Heart, for his part, has 200 food. Both of them down in gold cost. In gold piles, I guess. We'll see whether Fort Knox actually has any gold left once these 2 players finish engaging. Are they going to engage? Or will they, won't they? This is like season 1 of The Office with Jim and Pam. What the heck is going on? A lot of awkwardness, a lot of innuendo and touching and stuff like that, but no real action so far. Let's see the HP. Let's see if anyone's at risk of dying. Well, right as I looked at the HP, of course, one of Hera's skirmishers died. Now, Hera is supremely confident in his micro here because he is on the low ground. So he is taking more damage and he is meting out less damage, which means you have to be so supremely confident in your ability to dodge these red javelins. That being said, Heart does take a 3-2 kill lead. Hera, I guess, realizes it, backs away, says, hey, there's a hill right here. Why the hell am I fighting down here when I could be the one taking the high ground? And let's see you deal with a javelin being fired from a hill at your face and see how well you do. And well, there you go. Heart does about as well as Hera did. And I know there are some people out there, some viewers of the game, who absolutely hate skirmisher wars. But, you know, when it's like 3 versus 3, I can understand. But when it's this many versus this many, it could potentially be some fun here. I see some red dots reinforcing. I see no blue dots reinforcing. Heart using the more mobile mounted scout to continue scouting. Where is this one? Eagle. Okay. Scouting, keeping an eye on the north as the players disengaged. Is this a good time to look at Heart's base, or will Hera continue pressing in? You never really know what the heck is going to happen. He is starting to bank resources. Unfortunately for Hera, our Chinese is already pretty much in the Castle Age in terms of resources. He just needs a little bit more gold. Hera needs a lot of bit more gold and double the food if he wants to go up to the next stage. Okay, kill count even. Despite one spearman being the first unit to die, I think the rest have all just been skirmishers. All right. Well, we're seeing a little bit of a war of attrition here, kind of like a game of dodgeball, except they're flinging javelins at one another, and there's a couple of spearmen who don't really belong here. I don't know. They showed up at the community center. They really want to play with you, but they're like 30 years older, and nobody really wants them on their team, and they kind of just lurk in the back and kind of wait for their moment to jump in. Maybe they brought a pack of cigarettes to look cool in front of the kids, but who knows what the hell the point of these spearmen are. Probably to zone out this one scout who, to be fair, isn't that scary with 3 HP. And that Heart is already halfway up to castle. He's going to go mounted the way it looks like with bloodlines, armor upgrades. And why the hell not? You've seen your opponent has 14 skirmishers on the field. You're going to hit Castle Age light years ahead of Hera, who I'm assuming based on the resources has already clicked up, but once wheelbarrow completes, right? Yes, maybe, no, yes, there it is. And so, wow, almost a 2-minute advantage for our Chinese. The technologies are now going to be 10% cheaper, and he's already got a few, an armor upgrade here and there, bloodlines. And let's see what's going on back home, because finally the high octane skirmisher versus skirmisher battle here. At least they had fletching. You know what? It's not like the worst thing that could happen. The worst that could happen would be if they didn't have fletching and they were just basic skirmishers, just missing everything, firing at one another. Elite going up for hard. You might want to back away here. Oh, and there you go. That's why you don't show up at a dodgeball game unannounced, because the entire team will rally against you and fire those pink balls right at your face. Those pink, I should say, rubber balls. Okay, in 17 seconds, Hera's going to get a nice little surprise. He is on the high ground, though, so he's doing a bit better than the initial confrontation. I really want to look at Heart's base, but to be fair, the aggression is now swung back to Hera's side of the map, where the elite skirmishers now are going to be able to take this blue army to Pound Town. Even with the high ground, I don't think Hera can one-shot. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And now the knights are coming out. Hera has completely miscalculated in terms of committing to this skirmisher battle. They do have bloodlines, 20 extra HP. The skirmisher basically does 0 damage, which in this game does not exist unless there's bonus. And so by getting a participation trophy, this blue skirmisher does 1 HP of damage to this knight. And anytime you do 1 HP of damage to a unit with 120 HP, unless you've got 120 skirmishers, you are not in a good state at all, as Heart, with a second town center, diverting 275 wood into the economic side of his battle, as opposed to into the military industrial complex. I'm sure his Department of Defense is not too happy that he's diverted funds to civilian use. But we'll see how happy they are once those civilians start gathering resources and allowing the DoD to pump out more units. Will we get the first villager kill of the game? We do, as one of these Incan villagers bites the dust. Now, I would love to show you the feature of the Incas where once they hit the Castle Age, their villagers do benefit from all blacksmith infantry upgrades, attack, and armor. Unfortunately, Hera doesn't have a single infantry, blacksmith, armor upgrade, or attack upgrade. Look at how little damage. 8 dead villagers. Well, one knight's gonna die. The other one's gonna do what? Try to keep Hera on his toes. Eagle and Castle, even though it's a scout, does come with a tiny little +2 attack bonus against cavalry. To be fair, the skirmishers could probably finish the job in 5 or 6 more volleys, and another one gets picked off. So Hera's doubling down on skirmishers. He's replenishing his villager count, which is costing him a good amount of food. Half his farms appear to be fallow and lamed. Nobody's really tilling them. Either the ones here to the right or the ones here in the forward position. So the food income isn't really great right now for our Inca, who has to decide between villagers and military. And I guess when you have... I guess you already have Bodkin, now you're getting ballistics, you're getting armor upgrades. He's going to double down, because what choice does he have? either 50 food or 25 food. You can't really go, I guess I shouldn't say 25 food, where the Incas were in Castle Age, which means they are 20% cheaper. So 20 food for these skirmishers, unless my math is mistaken. You know how hard it was for me when I started casting to remember the difference between skirmishers and spearman line? They're the exact same, but mirror inverses. One is 25 food, 35 wood. One is 25 wood, 35 food. And I am not the brightest of people. I am not the, I'm not that person who sees reads something or hears something one time and then remembers it forever. No, I need to read something like 1,000,000 times before I remember it, which is why my early videos are full of comments like, hey, dumbass, you forgot this Sicilian bonus reduction damage. Oh, the good old days. Please, please, please do not watch any of my older videos. I say this, of course, I should be probably telling you to watch the older videos, but they are noobish, let's put it like that. Heart unrelenting, by the way, continuing to press into here. He's got Bodkin too, but no armor upgrade, no ballistics. Why? Because he's gone into knight play, and knights versus skirmishers, we know exactly who wins that, and Hera is down villagers despite a second TC. Has Heart seen this TC? When did it go up exactly? He has seen it, so he knows that his opponent can potentially catch up to him economically. I love this. Heart is using his vaster economy, his bigger bankroll, to just pump out more units, more monks, heal whatever the hell he has, and the next engagement he takes against Hera will be a fully healthy army. Although, to be fair, not all of Hera's units are damaged, so unless Heart attacks in the next minute or so, Hera's army is also going to be pretty much hail. We're going Devotion, make it harder to convert. We're also getting ballistics and forging. Now, I really do wish Hera would get a single infantry upgrade. I don't care if it's forging. I don't care if it's armor upgrades. Instead, 25 skirmishers are moving forward. Even with the food discount, even with 20 villagers on food, he is struggling, I feel like, to put out an army, period. Where are the Red Knights? They're circling to the north. Hera gets a monk. Two more are left. The knights mingle amongst the skirmishers, and this is real bad news, bears. We got an Incan monk. Will he be able? Probably will get a conversion. Yeah, he does get a conversion. Hera's very cockily placed town center will help a lot here, especially if the skirmishers shove into there. A couple of villagers already inside, and the monk as well. But now this whole area is completely under Chinese occupation. Another skirmisher, okay, I was going to say bites the dust, but he just kind of walks around. Town center gets a knight. The knight disengages from the skirmisher. And Heart is pressing in. We're up to 11 dead, 12 dead Incan villagers, 13 dead Incan villagers. And the knights keep pressing. They do have as much armor as they're going to have in the Castle Age. Heart's score is growing and growing and growing. That one very independent-minded, stubborn skirmisher that we saw from our Incas moving south looks like it has been dealt with. And now Heart can continue. He might be able to get one or two more skirmishers, but he does not want to risk the knights. They are too expensive. And Hera defends again, but every time Heart presses in, somehow his economic lead continues to grow, and by somehow I mean he manages to kill Hera's villagers while he himself suffers no damage back home. By the way, when the hell is the last time our Incas saw this base? Look at this is this is what his vision is. He has not seen at all what is going on the Chinese side of the map. And I always come back to that Mark Wahlberg quote in The Departed, where they find out that there's a leak in the police department, as there always seems to be in these Hollywood movies. Everyone's corrupt and everyone wants to make money. And everyone loves to sell out their friends in Hollywood, I guess, at least in Hollywood movies. But he talks about the FBI and talks about how he likes to keep them like mushrooms in the dark and eating shit. Something along those lines. That is exactly what Hera is into right now. He is not seeing anything. These knights, who I'm assuming have been healed, might want to jump into this battle as well. So we've got Dead Jaguar to the north. We've got Penetration in the southeast, but Pikemen from our Inca move out. Now this is going to be a nice discount, probably from 35 food to, what is that, -7, 28 food. That's a pretty darn big discount. And so you don't need as many farmers when you have food discount, but I don't know, 31 farmers to 42 seems like a pretty tough deficit to overcome. Hera has clawed his way up to 70 villagers, which is no small feat, no small economy. The problem is the Chinese settlement has grown to 95. That is almost 30% bigger. And again, Hera has no idea what's coming across the map. He doesn't know anything about infrastructure. He doesn't know anything about units, where the attack will come from. He has seen the Siege Workshop. Okay, that's at least something. But he needs vision. This is where a couple of well-placed outposts are worth their weight in gold. Drop the 5 stone. It's okay. You are pot committed here. You need to know what's coming at you. Will it continue to be knights? Will it be more siege? Will it be a castle drop? Certainly does look like a castle drop with Heartt's 584 stone. Knights chase, continue to die, but doing so much damage. Heartt is just not relenting. Hera desperately needs a 100 more stone. To be fair, I was gonna say he could buy it, but he's got no gold either, so he's got to keep mining. And there's a castle. Oh, why? Why this location? He asks 3 times. Like Beetlejuice. I have to ask a question 3 times to get the answer. Incan monk bites the dust now, and Hera's army is 4 pikemen and 10 skirmishers. Does get another conversion, and yeah. At some point, you just take so many punches to the ribs that you just collapse underneath the weight of your own inability to defend. And it looks like a blue castle went up here and then got denied. So what happened here? So Hera thought he could place a castle. With that castle, saw that his opponent's already at 35% completion. I don't think he lost the stone there, right? I think he, remember, Incan castles cost 15% less stone, so he doesn't need 650, as I mistakenly pointed out here. He does not need 650. He needs as much as the Franks do in the Castle Age. Yeah, I don't think he canceled that. Pardon me, I don't think he lost that castle. I think he canceled it. Yeah. Sometimes happens in Age of Empires where right as the first villager lays hammer on the castle, the mangonel fired maybe a split second earlier at the villager, and because of the blast radius, the 1 tile of width, the rocks land on the castle that has like 0.001% completion, and then the rocks destroy the castle in addition to the villager. That did not happen here. I thought it might have, but no, that mangonel didn't even fire here. So yeah, just too many punches to the ribs. Hera collapses, and from the very beginning, Heartt, whose settlement is now twice as large as his opponent's, double the military, almost double the economy, has just been so aggressive. And it is not common when this is Hera's vision of your side of the map, when it looks like this right now. I'm just going to keep doing that. That's pretty bonkers. That indicates to us that Heartt was the one aggressing nonstop, even to the point where Hera, who, when he gets aggressed against his, it feels like his natural instinct a lot of times is to just aggress right back and send a bunch of units across the map. In this case, the only real option he would have is Eagles. And I don't know, they finally do have the armor upgrade. Okay, well, there we go. Chainmail, let's take a look at the villagers. +3, +4. And by the way, that's not even fully upgraded. That goes up to 4-5 or 4-6. My goodness. Does it go 4-5 or 4-6? I forget exactly which one it goes up to. All these villagers with all their various bonuses, the Incas, the Spanish, all of them. Like I said, not the brightest of people. But wow, Heartt, yet again, proving to be the kryptonite of the garrison champion, Hera. And with the non-stop aggression and 30 villager kills to 0. But to be fair, even if you add back those 30 villagers, Hera's at 97 to 112. And that is not a good stat to be at against the Chinese, who, like I said, at any moment can pivot to whatever tech they want, whatever branch of the military they want. Scorpions with a +4 attack, Chu canoes with their ridiculous capped out 14 attack, trebuchets, Imperial Age. Hera doesn't have the ability. He knows Heartt. Well, I guess he doesn't know, but he suspects maybe that Heartt is starting to gather the bankroll to go up to the Imperial Age. And look at the scores. Heartt is more than 50% ahead of his opponent, or maybe exactly 50% ahead of his opponent, right? 23. Yeah, I think pretty much exactly 50% ahead. And that is not good news, even though the majority of the game was skirmishers monk play. Out of 9 monks, I'm wondering how many conversions. I didn't realize there were that many. I thought maybe like 5 or 6 We'll take a look. Knights, the pikemen, and monks as well. PKPM for Heart right at the beginning. Hera. Okay. Maybe that skirmisher war that was dominating the first part of the game, and 7,000 more resources, 33% bigger economy for our Chinese, who, to be fair, does lose out in the wood department, but everything else, my goodness, look at the gold count, look at the food count. And again, the Incas with their discount on food, you don't have to have as much food as your opponent when your units are cheaper, but to be down 35%, 30% is not good or sustainable at all. In the meantime, Heart has also gathered 3 relics, so all the benefits that come with map control, more resources, bigger population, relics, position of attack, direction of attack, 3 conversions. Okay, I thought 5 to 6 with 3. That's not great with 9 monks, to be fair. And kill count, let's take a look. We saw the 30 villager kills, but 150 to 83. Heart just rampaging over and over, attacking into this base. And like I said, eventually even the toughest of boxers, after so many punches to the ribs, will go down. And that's what happened here. Heart just kept shoving in army after army after army, forcing this Incan player who was basically wedged into a corner. And we saw 0 resources to the back. No gold, no stone, nothing safe to mine. This is in the middle of nowhere. This is under Chinese occupation. This is about to get lamed. All of his resources, this is very risky to mine. And this, I'm not even going to comment on this 4 patch of gold in the middle of nowhere. That's about as useful as this stone. But Hera, unfortunately, betrayed by the map, taken down by the constant, never-ending aggression of his opponent after what seemed like an eternity of skirmisher wars. Finally, we saw some knights in the mix. Finally, we saw some monks in the mix. And it is with that aggression, with the body shots, the punches to the ribs. Am I old school for doing boxing analogies and not like UFC? I feel like I should be doing UFC analogies, but it doesn't matter. It is Heart, the Chinese in red, who is victorious. But GG to both players.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.